Have you ever wanted to run away from something so badly that you thought you could hide from it anywhere, even across the sea? Imagine standing on the deck of a ship, waves crashing around you, the wind tugging at your clothes, and your heart pounding because you know deep down that you are supposed to do something important. But you don't want to. That was Jonah. Jonah was a man chosen by God to deliver a very important message to the people of a city called Nineveh. These people had been doing many wrong things, hurting each other, and forgetting God. God wanted Jonah to go and tell them to turn back to him, to change their ways, so that they would be safe and blessed. But Jonah did not want to go. He didn't want to see them, he didn't want to talk to them, and he didn't want to obey God. So, he ran. He ran as fast as he could, all the way to a port city. There, he found a ship sailing far, far away, to a place called Tarshish. He paid the fare, climbed aboard, and thought, if I go there, maybe I can escape my mission and hide from God. Jonah must have laughed nervously to himself, thinking he was clever, but God was not so easily fooled. As soon as Jonah was aboard and the ship set sail, the sky darkened. The wind howled, and waves rose like mountains, crashing over the deck. The sailors were terrified. Their ship, a strong vessel made for the open sea, was tossed and turned by a storm so fierce that they thought it might break apart. They cried out to their gods, throwing cargo overboard to lighten the ship, trying everything they could think of. Jonah, meanwhile, was asleep below deck, exhausted from worry and fear. The captain shook him awake. "Wake up," he shouted. "Pray to your God. Maybe he will save us." Jonah's heart sank. He knew this storm was no ordinary storm. This was God's way of getting his attention. He confessed to the sailors that he was running from God and that the storm had come because of him. The sailors were amazed and frightened. "What should we do with you to calm the sea?" they asked. Jonah knew the answer. "Throw me into the sea," he said, "and it will calm. It is my fault that this storm is raging." The sailors hesitated. It was frightening to throw a man into the angry sea, but the waves grew higher, and the wind screamed louder. Finally, they obeyed Jonah's words, and with heavy hearts, they cast him into the deep waters. As Jonah sank beneath the waves, something incredible happened. God had prepared a way to save him. A giant fish, enormous and powerful, opened its mouth and swallowed Jonah. Jonah was inside the belly of the fish, surrounded by darkness and the echo of waves, unsure of what would happen next. For 3 long days and 3 nights, he remained there. He could not see the sky, feel the sun, or hear the gentle sounds of the land. But he could pray. Inside the giant fish, Jonah talked to God like never before. He remembered the blessings he had received, the times God had guided him, and the promises that were always kept. He prayed with words full of awe, fear, hope, and gratitude. "I cried out to you, O Lord, from the depths," he said. "You heard my voice. You have saved my life, and I will give thanks to you forever." And then, just as suddenly as it had opened its mouth, the fish spat Jonah onto dry land. Imagine the relief, the wonder, the amazement. Jonah stood, wet and shaken, but alive. God had given him another chance. He had shown him mercy, and now Jonah had the courage to do what he had been running from all along. Jonah went to Nineveh and spoke the words God had given him. "Turn from your wicked ways," he told the people. "Change your hearts, and show kindness and love, or your city will be destroyed." The people of Nineveh were amazed and frightened by Jonah's message, but they listened. They fasted, prayed, and promised to change. Even the king, a man with great power, humbled himself and called his people to follow God. God saw their hearts, and he was pleased. He spared the city, showing that his love is patient and merciful, even when people have made mistakes. Jonah learned something very important too: God's ways are bigger than our fears. Running away does not stop God's plan, and his mercy is greater than our doubts. Jonah's story teaches us lessons that are still true today. Even when we are afraid, even when we think something is too hard or scary, God can guide us, protect us, and give us courage. Sometimes, we may feel trapped or alone, like Jonah inside the fish, but prayer, trust, and obedience can bring us through the darkest times. And even when we run, God's love can catch up with us and give us another chance to do what is right. So, whenever you feel scared or unsure, remember Jonah. Remember the stormy seas, the giant fish, and the people of Nineveh. Remember that no matter how big the problem, God is always bigger, always loving, and always ready to help us make the right choices. With faith and courage, we can face any challenge, share God's love, and discover that even the most frightening experiences can lead to something wonderful. If you love this story, please like and subscribe so we can share more adventures.